Awesome. Next up, we have Balazs Deme from, thanks, from Pile Capital to talk about abstract wallets as an API. So please welcome Balazs. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Like they said, my name is Balazs, and I'm here to talk about abstract wallets as an API. I want to kind of ask with this question of how can we fully eliminate the Connect wallet experience and really put the wallets in the background, and for the users to really make Web3 and using decentralized applications similar to how you would use any kind of financial app, any kind of different game, and to really make this user experience like much better than it is today. Abstract wallets are not a new idea. We just have a different way at Pile to kind of serve more the developers, also the fintechs, with kind of our set of APIs and our approach of how to bring this to the market. And I guess to talk a bit about myself, this is not my first time at DappCon. I was here 3 years ago because I've been building out of Berlin in the blockchain scenes for the past 5 years of sorts. I'm the co-founder and the CTO at Pile, which means I do all the coding, smart contracts, back and front end. And really kind of my journey started with being in interoperability, working on decentralized exchanges, working on like bridging of different kind of ecosystems and to really connect the different kind of blockchains together. But now kind of with Pile, I wanted to bring crypto closer to fintechs while still focusing on Dapp developers and the whole ecosystem. Because I always felt, we are kind of rebuilding this whole kind of financial system. We are building a better internet of sorts. So I think there's a lot of missing infrastructure between these two worlds that is still not done. I think we made a lot of progress in the last 6-7 years in making sure things are more scalable, it's more privacy focused, the users are more in control. But if you kind of look back and think about it, there's still a bunch of different elements that are missing from mass adoption. And really that's what I kind of want to cover in my talk, because I think a lot of people have mentioned already today, I was listening to the conversations of when does the mass adoption happen, what is needed, and I think we both have different ideas on these things. So that's kind of what we want to solve with Pile, is to build a crypto infrastructure as a set of APIs for fintechs, neobanks, but also obviously developers. Why for fintechs? I think this is like I said, one of the ideas we have around mass adoption is that a bunch of fintechs of today are becoming these kind of financial aggregators, no matter where you look. Whether you look in Latin America, Europe, everyone now has buy, hold, and sell for crypto. People are starting to integrate different NFTs. I don't think it will be long that within your financial app you will have different kind of crypto games integrated as well. ZK Snarks, who knows? And we really feel that, as Gen Z is kind of growing up also with crypto, they're going to sooner or later be with some fintech, and they're going to start using the app, and they're going to, put pressure on these different aggregators or financial service providers to have some sort of crypto integration. But obviously, regulation is a huge issue, especially being in Europe, and especially when you talk about DeFi fintechs and end users. So one of the biggest issues we saw with fintechs is when they have end customers who want to access DeFi, whether that's swapping on Uniswap, accessing Gnosis chain, buying an NFT, or even deploying capital into different protocols, the issue always becomes regulation. Who's doing the transaction? Who's doing the signing? Because if a fintech is having like a sort of custody account, let's say, and they are signing transactions to put money into any kind of protocol, let's say Uniswap as well, they are becoming asset managers, which is obviously not something you want as a fintech because that's not your main business. And it's also why, especially in Europe, there's going to be a bunch of questions asked by regulators. And I think you see this saga with Tornado Cash already playing out. The government wants to know where are your users, who are they using, where is the money coming from? And this will, I think, get even worse no matter where you are in the world. So I think we see both problems, both from the decentralized application side and also on the fintech side, that sooner or later, we're going to be under way heavier scrutiny on the regulatory side. And it's also what we found out by research. Web 2.0 and dApps, have the sort of same problem. Fintechs require API-based self-custody, and dApp developers just want, an easier solution when it comes to signing transactions, handling events. They want something that's more closer to the Web 2.0 developer experience. And that's really kind of our idea of what an abstract wallet as an API can look like. Why can we not go from these modules, these different kind of spinners, to a more traditional developer experience where you don't have to worry about which signer you're using, which chain your customer is on, if they are on a different chain than what they selected on the web interface. These are huge issues, especially when you're building front ends to kind of manage the whole mess of different wallets that exist. Because this shouldn't be the case. The connect your wallet button shouldn't really exist in a sense. And that's really kind of our solution, and the way we kind of think of this is having a single set of REST-based APIs, wallet creation, portability, self-custody, and abstract away all the complexity from you as a developer when it comes to interacting with smart contracts, handling events, and so on. And this is not only for the fintechs, of course. This is also for dApp developers as well, because we really feel there's still a lot of friction and work to be done on this sense. And that's really what we do. So obviously, if you go to our website today, you won't find this, because I think it's the first time we're publicly speaking and kind of approaching this community with the set of APIs we're doing. Because that's what we saw as well, is the creation of new wallets, the management, scaling them, is once again a huge problem that you as a developer shouldn't have to deal with. You should not worry about if your customer is using MetaMask, if they're using Argent, if they're using Gnosis Chain, and so on and so on. You should just focus on your UX experience and leave the rest to simple APIs that we would provide. And that's really what we're doing as an API. First is the creation. So if you have a new user come on board to your different kind of web interface, if they don't have a wallet yet, you can create one with our APIs. We do everything securely and encrypted. So I cannot reveal a lot now about the MPC we have. But it will be the case that in the next 1-2 months, as we enter into a new kind of beta and we onboard developers, this will all be public and open source, and you can play around and put it into your web application. But like I said, the first step is always creation, encryption of the different kind of wallets through our API. And then whenever you have the customer login, once again, we have a signer integrated. Why is it important to have a signer? I guess the most important part is not to have failed transactions, not to have the case of a user signed for a transaction, and then you have to track it. If it failed, then show a different message. We take care of all that with simple responses to make sure that when you send a transaction to our API, we can give you feedback right away. So we have an integrated signer. You don't have to worry about all that infrastructure that's needed to sign and broadcast transaction. And that's really, the last step is being done, and not having, again, the models and the spinners and so on. So, we really make it easy for you to get events back after you send a transaction. So every transaction you send has an identifier, and then you can query what were the events you're looking for, what are the outcomes you want to show to the user. So we really focus on this whole like I've said, abstraction and really, smoothing out the experience of the users and for you as a developer. And that's really kind of the direction we're headed as well with Pile. So I think I saw firsthand, both from the developer side of myself integrating the different wallets and the different providers, sometimes the different on and off-ramp providers. If you want to have a better DApp and you want to integrate some kind of on and off-ramp to allow your users to put actual hard fiat currency into crypto, then you need another widget integration. So I think there's still a lot of inefficiencies when you consider what the whole developer and user experience can be. Because until we don't solve the friction between crypto and traditional assets, and let's say the fintechs is the next step, we're still creating a lot of inefficiencies. And what do I mean by these different inefficiencies? If you're charging an end customer, whether they are crypto native, whether they are normal, 3% fees on buying a certain cryptocurrency, it's quite a high tax on users, right? Especially if you focus on yield. And I think us as working a lot with fintech providers who are having, consumer apps, consumer wallets, a lot of the times these fees kind of, hold back a lot of the adoption. Because if you have really high entrance fees and exit fees from crypto, then you have obviously a lot of costs involved. And I think we had a talk earlier today where it was about credit cards and all the different processors that are within here. And I think we see the same thing with on and off ramping from crypto, that there is payment processors, there's fraud detection, there is exchanges. So, the people in line who want to take a cut from the end users coming in is quite a lot. So I think until we solve this, until we really make it frictionless, effortless, cost-free to come on board into crypto, we have a lot of work. So that's sort of what we're doing at Pile as well, because we started with the wallets. Actually, the wallets are a second product. We started with providing fintechs with DeFi access. So we're connected to 18 different protocols. We provide trade, lending, borrowing, and swaps. So that's all done and in a sandbox. But now we're focusing on wallets, which we are announcing today. But then afterwards, I think the most interesting part is on and off ramps at scale. So on and off ramps at scale means that from your dApp, you can have an integration, some lightweight KYC, because we must do that. But then afterwards, we don't want to charge you a fee. We don't want to charge your end users a fee. So we're slowly rebuilding a bunch of this fintech/traditional finance inefficiencies for dApps, because we really feel like this is one big topic that's holding back adoption. But I guess we'll find out. I think this is one bet we're making. And yeah, we are based in Berlin and building out of Berlin. And you should come build with us. As I said, we haven't announced this product yet publicly on our website. But what we're going to do for the next 1 month, 2 months is really focus a lot on having a developer community, letting you try out our APIs, letting you try out our wallets. What does this mean? It means, we want to get your feedback on how to best build it, because we might have one approach to build abstract wallets, but there might be, better approaches, and we really want to focus on developer experience as well. As a developer, I can say there is some horrible stuff out there, not in the crypto world, in traditional fintech or banking as a service. So yeah. I think that's briefly about Pile, what we're doing. I know it's quite a curveball that we are more fintech, but building also for dApp developers. So yeah, reach back out. I'm happy to chat, and yeah, come build with us. Thanks a lot. And it's question time, I think, if anyone has some questions. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Balazs.
Thanks.